Hey everybody, Zach here, back again for another message from LETR-Z. That's lies exposed, truth revealed in the last days. Because the Elohim that we serve is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first to the last, the Aleph and the Tav, the A to the Z. And we are living in the Z. We're going to be jumping back in here. This is part 7, the God of Forces, picking up where we left off in what you were never told about lightning. According to this 2021 interview, Mr. Brinkley seems to think he's in a battle for the souls of humankind. But I've got news for him. If there is no hell, as Mr. Brinkley's experiences have taught him, then Yeshua HaMashiach, the Messiah, is a liar. And not only that, if there is no hell, then there is no battle. No man's soul is in jeopardy. Danion's wasting his time, and everyone else's, because according to the Gospel of Daniel, whether you're trusting the shed blood of the Master Yeshua HaMashiach, buttered toast, or SpongeBob SquarePants, we all go to heaven. So it doesn't seem to matter, right? All paths lead to heaven, according to this guy. And there is no need for salvation. In any case, should we heed the words of Daniel Brinkley, a man who was struck down by lightning and began preaching that old sermon, "Ye shall not surely die"? Genesis 3:4, who just so happened to be a snake who said that one. Can we take the solace in Mr. Brinkley's so-called near-death experiences that hell does not exist? What does the Master Yeshua HaMashiach have to say about this? After all, Danion's not the only one who's died and come back to tell about it. Did the Master come back preaching, "There is no hell"? I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore, amen, and have the keys of hell and of death. Revelation 1:18. But I will forewarn you whom ye shall fear. Fear him, Yahusha, which after he hath killed hath power to cast into hell. Yea, I say unto you, fear him. Luke 12:5. Daniel is a liar. He's simply another false teacher of good words and fair speeches. And today, men like him are a dime a dozen. Romans 16:18. When Daniel finally meets his maker, his next book will be titled In Hell with the Light. Because the supposed light he's received after the encounter with electricity is not the light of the Most High. Not the light of Elohim. But if you think that certain Christians or believers, Mark 4:17, Luke 8:13, 1 Corinthians 3:1, etc., or people who think they're Christian can't be fooled by Brinkley's preaching, you're wrong. My name is David March. In 2015, I was angry with the religious beliefs I'd grown up with all my life. That some people go to heaven, and most people go to hell when they die because they didn't accept Yahusha. And I learned about a thing called near-death experience, and that millions of people had died, had an experience with Yahuwah, or universe, or spirit, or consciousness, or whatever you want to call it. And there was no judgment. And there was no division of heaven or hell. And they came back to talk about it. One of the most powerful stories that I read was from a man called Daniel Brinkley. His story changed my perception about God. And that is from Exploring the Human Journey, Daniel Brinkley, NDE, Near-Death Experience. Dead and Back 4 Times. YouTube, May 26th, 2019, 1:07:03. That's the time signature. So 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 3 seconds. We've spent the last few pages talking about the life and beliefs of one Daniel Brinkley. The reason I've parked here a little longer is because Mr. Brinkley is a very good example of a 21st century individual who's had a scientifically unexplainable incident with electric forces. While I wouldn't say that I exactly trust Mr. Brinkley, I would say that I believe him when he says that he is a spiritually different man today than before his lightning encounter. Brinkley's experiences serve to demonstrate that acquiring mystical, occult-like abilities and doctrines of devils via lightning are not limited to the shamans of indigenous peoples. A man who's had no contact with early natives has inadvertently confirmed what shamans teach by having a comparable experience. Something strange is taking place within these people that's invisible to the naked eye and unexplainable in medical terms. But the talents they're learning are not unique with lightning strike victims. Such things have a long history within witchcraft and demonism. Unfortunately, Brinkley's not alone in his lies and in making lost sinners, twofold more the children of hell. Matthew 23:15. Psychic necromancer George Anderson is widely considered by those in the medical, scientific, and religious fields to be the world's greatest living medium. It is from Aboit. George Anderson, the world's most scientifically tested medium. The famed psychic has admitted of his consulting with spirits that it's not like a literal face-to-face discussion, but more like getting an electrical charge all through yourself. That is from Psychics, George Anderson, Unsolved Mysteries, Cosgrove Moirer Productions, and First Look Media, 2004, Disc 2. Spirit contact is like receiving an electrical charge. That's an interesting answer, but why am I not surprised? Anderson has also claimed that such communication can be interpreted during lightning storms. That is from Ibid, so also from Psychics, the one I just read. His books deny the reality of evil spirits, claiming they don't exist. He also denies evil spirits and He also denies that spirits can possess people and that all supported demonic possession is simply mental illness, even though the Master Yahushua HaMashiach demonstrated otherwise. Matthew 8:16, 8:28, 12:28, Mark 1:39, etc. Although one of Mr. Anderson's books is titled Lessons from the Light Scripture Reports. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. Isaiah 8:20. Getting struck by lightning often means instant death, but Sonia Benson is one of the mysterious exceptions. She not only survived the strike, Sonia developed a psychic sixth sense. Over the years, she's used her lightning powers to help solve crimes that have stymied law enforcement. Somehow, Sonia was able to connect the police agents to a string of clues, people's names, initials, and details about a murder, a mysterious legacy of the lightning she encountered decades earlier. That is from Sabine Thing, Lightning Psychics, Monsters and Mysteries in America, Season 3, Episode 2, 2015 on Amazon Prime. This also just reminds me of the episode of South Park where Cartman gets an injury and all of a sudden is a psychic and leads police to find the murderer, but it's all just silliness and nonsense, and a bunch of other psychics come in and they get into a mind battle and it's just goofiness. If you ever watch South Park, but they're pretty on point a lot of times, when they expose these people and a lot of just the craziness of the world. So it's the only reason I mentioned it. Patrick McGuire, a former reporter for the Baltimore Sun, stated of Benson's abilities, "You can't really explain it, because some things are unexplainable. The logic says, this is crazy, but then, how do these things happen?" That is from Sabine Thing, Lightning Psychics, Monsters and Mysteries in America, Season 3, Episode 2, 2015 on Amazon Prime. How, indeed. In July 1997, Shane Smith began having spirit visitations following an encounter with a lightning bolt. After months of hospitalization and rehab, he reported, "I noticed something was different. I started to sense things more deeply. I started to see spirits. I knew they were in the spirit world, but I was just shocked that I was able to see them so clearly." That is from Ibid, so the same. Sabine Thing. Greta Alexander was a well-known professional psychic from Illinois. In 1961, both she and her house were hit by a bolt of lightning. She also suffered an electric shock not long after the incident. Shortly after these encounters, Alexander's psychic abilities were awakened. She found herself answering the telephone moments before it rang, and noted, how does that make sense? If you answer the phone before it rings, then wouldn't it technically be on hold when it actually calls in? Whatever. And notice she was able to read the minds of others. In 1974, she began helping law enforcement with missing person cases. Police were astonished at some of the details she was able to uncover. That is from Louise Proud, Strange Electromagnetic Dimensions, New Page Books, Pompton Plains, New Jersey, 2015. It's kind of crazy. We've been reading through this book, and anybody who's been following along, you'll notice seemingly a lot of these sources come from someplace in New Jersey. And now we have all of these drones or, UFOs, UAPs, coming out of the water, whatever they want to call them, whatever they are. Are they, from adversaries of, the United States? Are they actually from entities from another dimension or world? Are they spirits that have lived in the in Antarctica or living under the water? So many questions, right? But they're in New Jersey, so a lot of strange things in New Jersey apparently. Just a side note. In 2004, 3 members of the Ellickson family were struck by lightning. All 3 were knocked to the ground. Their 18-year-old daughter, Erin, stopped breathing and her heart stopped. After rescue arrived and brought Erin back, she later reported of a near-death experience. "I saw God. He was talking to me. He said I was struck by lightning. I was in awe. I said to him, 'Get off your,' profanity omitted, 'and start doing something.' It was a nice experience." Okay. That was from John S. Friedman, Out of the Blue, Delta Trade Paperbacks, New York, New York, 2008, page 197. Spirits began manifesting to Shane Smith after he was hit by a thunderbolt. This is the picture for that. Miss Ellickson reported also spoke with her deceased grandmother during the event. Grandmother. It isn't time for you to be up here. Get back down where you're supposed to be, the entity told her. That is from Ibid, so same. John S. Friedman, Out of the Blue, Delta Trade Paperbacks, New York, New York, 2008, page 197. While I don't doubt that this girl had some sort of spiritual experience, to imply that the lightning strike supposedly allowed her to visit heaven and speak with Yahuwah and her dead loved one is not in accord with the Bible. What is in accord with Scripture is that these things were lying, familiar spirits impersonating Yahuwah, a mimic. Usurpers of the Father's glory. And Miss Ellickson's grandmother, I also find it stunning that while supposedly in heaven, this teen curses God, Yahuwah, to his face, and then describes the event as nice. Really? See Leviticus 24:15 through 16. French astronomer Nicolas Camille Flammarion writes, lightning has sometimes worked marvels on the blind, deaf, and dumb, to whom it restores sight, hearing, and speech. A man who had the whole of his left side paralyzed from infancy was struck on August 10th, 1807. He lost consciousness for 20 minutes, but after some days, he gradually and permanently recovered the use of his limbs. On the other hand, he became deaf. We owe no gratitude to lightning. There are too many miseries for a few happy results. The balance is really too unequal. That is from Camille Flammarion, Thunder and Lightning, Chatto and Windus, London, England, 1905, page 118 through 119. According to the Bible, blindness, deafness, and dumbness are some of the very infirmities which unclean spirits can inflict. Matthew 12:22, Mark 9:25. It would not be surprising to learn that demonic miracles could undo the same. Revelation 16:14. Mr. Flammarion continues to describe from his records various baffling mysteries for which lightning has reportedly been responsible. 1. Hurtling prey through the air for 30, 40, and 50 yards. 2. Shaving individuals of hair and beards to where it never grows back. 3. Stripping victims from their clothes, shredding clothes, or carrying clothes great distances away. 4. Human petrification where the victim remains sitting or standing in an immobile statue-like state. 5. Splitting people in half vertically. 6. Complete bodily disintegration into ash. 7. Mass killings of people and partial or whole herds of animals and flocks of birds. 8. Lightning has been known to leave behind a nauseous, sulfurous vapor or strong stench. That is from Camille Flammarion, Thunder and Lightning, Chatto and Windus, London, England, 1905. In summarization, his vast collection on lightning phenomena, Flammarion writes, "The brilliancy of lightning hides itself from us in the darkness of impenetrable mystery. But we feel that there is an immeasurable power and unimaginable force which rules us. It would seem as if lightning were a subtle being. It is like an elemental spirit, keen, capricious, malicious, or stupid, far-seeing or blind, willful or indifferent, passing from one extreme to another, and of a unique and terrifying character. We see it twisting into space, moving with astonishing dexterity among men, appearing and disappearing with rapidity. It is impossible to define its nature. The phantasmagoria of lightning leaves us perplexed. All these observations are extraordinary and very disconcerting. The facts contradict each other and lead us to no actual conclusion. Lightning may be the daughter of goblins, though it may often strike innocent victims blindly and ferociously. At times, it seems to show a certain amount of intelligence." That is from Camille Flammarion, Thunder and Lightning, Chato and Windus, London, England, 1905, page 89, 91, 124 through 125, and 128. Flammarion's not alone in his opinion. I think it's fair to say there is an intelligent component to lightning. It almost seems to have a mind of its own. That is from Lewis Proud, Strange Electromagnetic Dimensions, New Page Books, Pompton Plains, New Jersey, 2015, page 174. You've now been introduced to a rare phenomenon, one that's hardly ever talked about. Parallels between electricity, lightning, and the spirit world. This scientific age doesn't want you to believe what's been presented here. That's why they scorn it and mock it as superstition or nonsense. But that's what the devil wants. He wants you, the Bible-believing Christian or believer, to be uncomfortable in your beliefs. And he wants them, the rest of the unsaved world, to be comfortable in their deception. Same thing. I believe that modern science and academia have put mankind in a box and will not let him look outside of it. This box builds up a wall and creates the illusion that everything of any consequence has been figured out or will eventually be figured out. They believe that all they have to do is just learn a little bit more, and they'll have all the answers. This unrelenting trust in science goes beyond simple lessons which use solid, evidence-based science. This is the faith of scientism, 1 Timothy 6:20. A religion where the power of scientific knowledge is stretched into philosophical speculations. This worldly arrogance is one of the hallmarks of this age. 2 Timothy 3:1-7. Science writer Thomas Burnett remarks, "Scientism is a speculative worldview about the ultimate reality of the universe and its meaning. Scientism restricts human inquiry. It is one thing to celebrate science for its achievements and remarkable ability to explain a wide variety of phenomena in the natural world. But to claim there is nothing knowable outside of the scope of science would be similar to a successful fisherman saying that whatever he can't catch in his nets does not exist. Once you accept that science is the only source of human knowledge, you have adopted a philosophical position that cannot be verified or falsified by science itself. It is, in a word, unscientific. That is from Thomas Burnett, What is Scientism? Dialogue on Science, Ethics, and Religion, American Association for the Advancement of Science, 21st of May, 2012. Scientism, the new orthodoxy, addresses how our modern technological age has created an over-reliance on technology and how this leads to the false notion that technology can solve all problems. The book touches on how this false science is growing into a quasi-religion. Scientism, the New Orthodoxy, edited by Richard N. Williams and Daniel N. Robinson? I think that's what that says. I don't know. You guys can look it for yourself. Look in on the picture, see if it's if I read that right or whatever. In science of today, effectively all ideas are just theories. Scientists often use concepts from the philosophy of science to make some semantic distinctions between laws, theories, hypotheses, and the like. So when a scientist talks about a law of nature, he or she is referring only to a standard observation, given some strict parameters. Not an absolute requirement. A basic principle in science today is that any law, theory, or otherwise can be disproven if new facts or evidence are presented. In science, everything's a theory. Proof doesn't exist. Nothing is certain. That is from Beth Daly. Forget what you've read. Science can't prove a thing. The Conversation, published April 20th, 2011. Today, regardless of this attitude, which is a paradox when dealing with true science, mainstream academia are always the experts. They're the high priests and the ones supposedly with all the knowledge. Yet they never take into account the reality of spirits, and no amount of scientific equipment will provide them with the answers they need to realize this. This is Yahuwah's joke on them. And now you know, as we've stated previously, why it's written. The world of wisdom knew by God. The world by wisdom knew not God, knew not Yahuwah. 1 Corinthians 1:21. Because science pushes an elitist image of itself onto the public, the perception is that they generally know everything there is to know about lightning, tornadoes, and other related phenomena. This is what the average person believes. This illusion has built up a wall. What supernaturalism is non-existent. That supernaturalism is non-existent. This is part and partial to our day. However, despite their haughty attitudes, thousands of things continue to happen that science has no answers for. Gravity, for example, is full of mysteries. When you dig deeper into the nuances and details of many supposed established laws, you discover that mainstream science is in the dark on a lot of it. Not just wind and electrical phenomena. What else are they not telling us? Untold numbers of people are seeing things and experiencing things daily that science cannot explain. What does the modern egghead do about these reports? He ignores them. He pretends they don't exist. After all, he has science to lighten his path. As much as we like to walk around with the confidence that we knew this planet and we understand the planet we live on, we know this planet. There seems to be nothing but mystery on this planet. That is from David Whitehead, investigative journalist, radio host, quote taken from TV series The Unexplained, 2019. There's more to man, the world, and the universe than any scientist knows anything about. The Bible says to this attitude, "Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall." 1 Corinthians 10. Well, I think we're going to end it here. We'll pick up in the next video, starting with something unknown is in the air. I thank you so much for spending some time with me, and hopefully you've learned something as I have. Yahuwah bless you. Love you all. See you in the next video.